On the evening of January 8, 2025, seismic activity across the globe presented a dynamic and complex picture. A magnitude 3.4 earthquake was recorded near Greece, highlighted by the green marker on the earthquake 3D globe. Meanwhile, California began showing signs of increased seismic activity with a notable uptick in tremors and minor quakes. Could this heightened movement along the San Andreas Fault be a precursor to something far more significant? At the same time, activity along the Cascadia Subduction zone raises a chilling question. Is this restless region hinting at a long-anticipated megathrust earthquake? Interestingly, Texas also experienced larger movements, underscoring the widespread seismic shifts. Are these tremors part of a global pattern, or do they signal localized stress building in Earth's tectonic plates? Focusing on the West Coast, Southern California remained active with a 3.0 magnitude earthquake near the creeping segment of the San Andreas Fault. This minor cluster of activity, while not alarming in isolation, adds to a larger narrative of strain accumulating in the region. Combined with ongoing wildfires in the Los Angeles area, some of which have sparked under suspicious circumstances, the potential for a catastrophic combination of disasters looms over the state. Historically, disasters often occur in sequences, and the convergence of fire and seismic activity is a troubling possibility. Farther south, the Imperial Fault experienced minor tremors, while Northern California showed modest activity near Lake Allmanor, with early morning earthquakes ranging in magnitude from 2.0 to 3.0. This pattern of activity hints at elevated tectonic strain across the West Coast, spreading inland and manifesting in various seismic hotspots. In the Cascadia Subduction zone, a magnitude 2.7 earthquake occurred near the southern plate boundary. Analysis of the region's tremor map revealed 68 tremor epicenters concentrated deep beneath Northern California, between 35 and 45 kilometers below the surface. This subduction activity reflects a buildup of strain along the plate interface. Historically, tremor clusters in Cascadia are often precursors to increased seismic activity nearby, a pattern observed in the region today. Seismic activity has been unusually active in several regions, raising questions about underreporting and the dynamics behind the tremors. In Northern California, seismic stations at Petrolia and Dinsmore have detected multiple tremors throughout the day, yet only one earthquake has been officially reported. The Petrolia State Station, situated near the coast south of Eureka, and the more inland Dinsmore Station typically register events above magnitude 2.0 on their seismographs, with signals appearing on both stations during significant activity. Despite this, some quakes remain unacknowledged by reporting agencies, fueling speculation about the completeness of earthquake data. In Texas, the earth continues to shake within the oil fields. A magnitude 4.2 earthquake, initially recorded as 4.3, was reported in the western desert region, an area characterized by a dense network of oil pads and wastewater disposal ponds. These facilities inject wastewater deep into the ground, a process strongly linked to seismicity in the area. The connection between oil extraction and induced earthquakes is well documented, and today's activity is another clear example of the Earth responding to industrial processes. As the oil boom continues, so too does the likelihood of future quakes in these exploited regions. Further north, the New Madrid seismic zone remains relatively quiet, with only minor tremors noted. This calm, however, contrasts with a peculiar event in the Bransfield Strait near the Antarctic region. A magnitude 5.3 earthquake occurred in this unusual location, near a historically recognized plate boundary fracture zone. While historical data supports seismic activity in the area, the exact placement of today's event seems slightly off the expected fault line. Such anomalies often highlight the complexities of tectonic interactions in less studied regions. Meanwhile, the South Sandwich Trench remains tranquil, with no significant seismic events reported along this subduction zone. Across the globe, the interconnected dance of tectonic plates continues to reveal its mysteries, reminding us of the forces shaping our planet. Seismic activity continues to unfold across various regions, with notable developments along the Peru-Chile Trench. While no significant events have been recorded, smaller tremors reflect ongoing tectonic movement in this area. The Atlantic Ocean saw earlier activity, including a magnitude 5.0 and 4.7, indicating moderate seismic unrest. Meanwhile, the Ethiopian Rift boundary remains a focal point of interest due to its heightened activity. Recent observations suggest an uptick in surface changes, including fractures and geyser-like emissions of mud and water, signaling increased geothermal activity beneath the area. These phenomena align with nearly 100 recorded earthquakes in the region, including several unreported smaller quakes likely around magnitude 3.0. Seismographic data west of the rift boundary confirms a series of tremors, including multiple magnitude 4.0 earthquakes. The pattern suggests that this tectonically active region is experiencing renewed strain, with the possibility of further seismic events. Elsewhere, Hawaii remains relatively quiet, with no significant activity reported. New Zealand is similarly calm, though minor clustering persists around Vanuatu and the Indonesian archipelago, consistent with typical seismic activity in these zones. The Philippines also displays moderate activity, characteristic of its tectonic environment. In Nepal, the aftermath of the recent magnitude 7.1 earthquake, the strongest quake to date in 2025, continues to be monitored closely. While seismic activity has shifted slightly north of the plate boundary, this transfer of strain is consistent with expected tectonic behavior in the region. The increased pressure near the Mount Everest area suggests the potential for additional significant events. This region, shaped by immense tectonic forces, remains a critical area of focus as scientists assess the evolving seismic landscape. Earthquake activity has been relatively moderate, with some movement observed along the Middle America Trench and the northernmost segment of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. A magnitude 3.1 tremor was recorded in Cascadia, though it appears unreported on certain models, likely being catalogued by the European Mediterranean Seismological Center. These small tremors reflect the constant tectonic adjustments occurring in these regions. Meanwhile, space weather activity has seen a significant development. After more than a month offline due to server flooding at Stanford University, the Solar Dynamics Observatory, SDO, imagery is back online, providing crucial data on solar activity. This includes detailed views of sunspot complexity and ultraviolet imagery of the Sun. Observations indicate some reorganization in active region 3947, which is undergoing changes in its magnetic structure. While its complexity has diminished, a lingering portion of the region still holds a slight potential for flaring. Current probabilities suggest a 15% chance for X-class flares, 60% for M-class flares, and near certainty for smaller C-class flares. However, no significant solar storms are forecasted for the near future.